This is going to seem weird to people that tune in because they're about to watch us talk about angels, which are these unseen beings, and we're going to talk about them in detail, like we know that they exist, like we know what they're doing, like we know that they have an agency to drive evil out of our lives. I guess I don't know the answer to this. Have you ever seen an angel, Dr. Jonathan Rose?
Not, I would say, in a state of full wakefulness or whatever, you know.
You had like a dream with one?
I've had dreams of loved ones who have passed on.
Yep.
Whether they had achieved full angel status yet or not, I know there was an angelic quality about them. So it doesn't feel completely foreign, but I'm no Swedenborg. I'm not walking around with, I can hear them right now.
Well, that's part of the rub here. And I would say for myself, no, I don't, throughout my day, I don't hear the voices of angels. I don't see glowing orbs. I've never awakened in the one is at the foot of my bed. But yet, I believe in them very strongly. And I would have points in my day, all throughout the day, where I say, like, I noticed, that's an angel, that's an angel, that's an angel. And the only reason that I'm there, and I think it's the same reason that you're there, is because of Swedenborg's descriptions. So the way that he maps out angels and how they operate, you can't see them directly, but you can start to see the impact on your consciousness. Or you start to have a framework to identify stuff you would have noticed in your mind, but then dismissed. Instead, you say, is that an angel coming through? And then you can look back at your life and say that, they did help me get away from evil. They did. Apparently, they're doing really important stuff, and there is this really intense clash of good and evil happening in every single person's mind all the time. So here's how any of you at home can start to identify your angels and see the power and magnify their power, right? I mean, assist them in their job of de-evilizing your life and mind and everything.
Yeah, cooperative as opposed to hostile witness or something, right?
This is coming out of Swedenborg's eyewitness accounts of what happens around each human being spiritually all the time. First point that he makes and that we want to make here is angels exist. Well, maybe that's a given, but are incredibly powerful.
Yes.
Very powerful.
Which is, he really emphasizes it and says such great things about it. And yet, from a kind of just an earthly perspective, you could say, weird that you would ascribe power to beings that we've never seen with our physical eyes and whose impact we can scarcely detect on our lives. There's, doesn't seem as powerful as it could be.
Okay, that's actually that. I'm glad you brought that up, Jonathan, because that paradox is something we're going to explore today.
Okay.
This is from Swedenborg's Heaven and Hell 229. In the spiritual world, so this is in the afterlife, angels have so much power that if I were to highlight everything I have seen, it would strain credulity. Means you wouldn't believe me.
That's right. And interesting that he says, and he doesn't limit it to this, but the framework there is in the spiritual world, they have immense power.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they must be so powerful because he's already telling you that he can see into the afterlife. That's a thing that a lot of people would say, I don't believe that.
That's a good, yeah.
But then he's saying, yeah, I've seen these angels, but you really wouldn't believe if I told you how powerful they are. Like that's the hard pill to swallow.
That's what's going to be tough.
If anything there in the spiritual world is in the way and needs to be removed because it is opposed to the divine design, they raise and overturn it simply by an effort of will and a look.
It's just wild to hear that because back in 1758, and I haven't read I'm ashamed to admit I haven't read everything from the 18th century in all available languages.
You're a fraud. You're an imposter.
I know. I know it deeply in my soul. But I'm not aware of anything in that time period that talked about beings having power shooting out of their eyes. We're all familiar now there's various different we've all seen those, like something's
X-Men takes that thing off.
right. Yeah, there's just beings that with these superpowers and the eyes, all they have to do is, look at something.
Yeah.
And laser beams, which they didn't even, nobody had discovered the laser beam or that particular type of light back then. So it's cool, to think about that he's going to this other world and then he's seeing that just like they just think that's not right. Bang, they just look at it. It's done. They don't have to lift a finger.
So I have seen mountains that were the abode of evil people leveled and overturned, sometimes shaken from end to end as happens in our earthquakes. I have seen cliffs split down the middle right to the bottom, and the evil people on them swallowed up. I have also seen angels scatter some hundreds of thousands of evil spirits and cast them into hell. A vast multitude is powerless against them. The skills and wiles and alliances of evil spirits amount to nothing. Angels see everything and dispel it instantly. But there is more about this in the story of Babylon destroyed. They do have this kind of power in the spiritual world. The word, too, shows that angels have power like this in the natural world when it is granted to them.
Yes, there are big stories of don't people get struck blind and then they walk them through the wilderness, and there's even situations where the angel of the Lord comes down and kills, I forget, 85,000 people or something. There's stories about serious destruction and impact in this physical world in the Bible.
Yes, which suddenly I'm thinking, oh no, we have tangents here that we could go on, because right away, wait, are those miracles real? Did that really happen? And Swedenborg has an answer, yes, through correspondences, but they don't have it anymore. But then also, wait, angels are killing people? Isn't that bad? That they're like, wait a second, is that so? That we've done shows on that.
They don't lead with that card, but yeah,
that the focus here is the raw power of that mechanism.
Yeah. So in a way, maybe part of what Swedenborg's saying is that I think a lot of people in his time period, and he talks about this several times, had the view of angels as being like the little cherubs, little winged, little cutie, love bunny, little cute things, and
cute.
So he's kind
That's
of
true.
The angels I've experienced in the spiritual, it is the little cute little Cupid character, wiping out mountains, changing the landscape with a look of their eyes. These are very, very powerful beings. And isn't it amazing how much literature, how much fiction is about human superpower, like about the possibility that you could have these powers and abilities.
Yeah.
What would that be like?
Right.
There's a whole huge body of literature, movies, all books, all about this.
So we've got this power that's sitting out there. As of right now, that's what it. But what is it? Where does it come from? And what powers the engine of that power? And the answer is it's truth.
Oh,
it's the truth. The power of the angels.
You're not saying the answer is the truth. You're saying the answer is the truth is what powers it.
The answer to the question is the truth. The words, the truth.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
Which sounds like, wah, wah. That what power does truth have?
Yeah.
Maybe the power to expose a fraud, but it sure can't level a mountain. It sure can't change your life, can it?
Isn't there a whole saying about speaking truth to power? The idea is that the truth doesn't have the power.
Yeah.
And most of the time when you speak truth to power, it has no effect. The power wins. And so you go ahead and speak your truth, but it is not powerful.
Sounds awesome, though, thing to do, speak truth. I don't think anyone's like, I wouldn't want to speak truth to power. Okay. Swedenborg asserts, angels have power because goodness and truth have power. This is from Secrets of Heaven. No one in this world is very likely to know about the power truth has from goodness. It is apt to be known only to the inhabitants of the other world, meaning the afterlife, and consequently only by revelation from there. People who subscribe to truth on the basis of goodness, that is, who possess faith as a result of neighborly love, have power through truth from goodness. What? Let's, okay.
Okay, so you got a couple of leaps in there. The first one we've already talked about, which is that it's a leap to say, okay, I mean, we haven't even touched on this, but Swedenborg's idea of what an angel is it's just you and me, if we're lucky, 100 years on.
People become
after
angels.
we die, and those are the only people up there. They're your ancestors.
We've done that's another can of worms. We did a whole show about that. You can leave a comment if you want.
So that's leap number one. Leap number two is, even though they're you, and you used to just be a feeble, pathetic, neurotic human being.
Hey,
not you personally.
You were looking right at me when you said it.
The leap is that being could at some point gain this amazing power to shape the spiritual world, to drive. Just imagine, like, the sheer number. He's talking about hundreds of thousands of evil spirits who've all formed alliances, and they've ganged up, and they're all, and they're coming at you with all this hate. And one of these beings, one angel, can just go, I see through the whole thing, and I'm done with y'all. Off you go.
Evil spirits being just those
also,
of us,
you and me, if we're
in the afterlife.
Cards, right? That's right.
You can be called an evil spirit or an angel depending on what it is you're trying to do and what kind of person you have chosen to become.
That's right.
If you're somebody who is trying to form alliances and wiles and things to harm and exploit and destroy people, we would call you an evil spirit.
Yeah.
If you're someone who's trying to protect people and do goodness, we would call you an angel.
And the third leap in there is to go from, okay, there's a person, now that's a person later on, and they have these powers. And then you say, well, what's actually powerful are these abstractions called goodness and truth, or what seem like abstractions, to say, oh, what actually holds power are these qualities that they participate in certain circumstances. There's a few leaps in this show.
It's not as leapy, though. It's not that leapy if you understand that the consciousness that you inhabit, like your mind, it works the way the spiritual world works.
Yes.
Because does truth have power in your mind? It sure does.
It does.
It does. And I would say, for example, if you have some kind of hang up where you are immersed in anxieties about something, there are therapeutic techniques where they'll say, like, oh, guess what? Here's the thing your worries are really about, and this is how you refute that. And that truth can totally shift the landscape.
It's amazing. If you really hit on one that works and it's quite pointed to what you're wrestling with, it can just drive it not only momentarily but permanently from the field. There's anxieties that I used to suffer from, and then you just get that thought, that truth, bang, it's gone. It doesn't trouble you anymore.
Yes. So it can absolutely level mountains if you think about it.
Yes.
Inside the mind. The spiritual world, it behaves in the same way a mind behaves. Like, it is the consciousness world. And so truth and love can be quite powerful there.
Yeah, and I have a friend who used to work in the judicial system, and he said it was amazing to see sometimes where you'd have an elderly woman who is alone, and she's going up against this giant, well-funded corporation. And they have a whole phalanx of lawyers over there on their desk and everything. They're bringing all the arguments, and she can win. She can win that case. Because if she's got the truth, and they don't, and if she's making sense, if she can really line it up to where, no, actually she's right,
Yeah.
He said it was fun to see.
Yeah.
How
There's
that
no
can
case.
get, doesn't matter.
There's no case.
It doesn't matter how much money, how many lawyers, whatever, the truth is powerful.
Truth is powerful. Love is powerful. Okay. They have the ability to control evil spirits, even when one angel goes up against 1,000 spirits at once. With people on earth, they exert their power to the utmost, sometimes protecting us against a large number of hells in thousands upon thousands of different ways. So I forgot something. In the beginning, when we were I was saying, hey, isn't it going to be weird that people are saying we're, talking about how angels behave and that sort of thing. And we said, well, one reason why we're going to be talking about this like we know it is because of Swedenborg's accounts. We touched on this, but not fully. The second reason is, we did touch on this pretty well. You can see this play out in your thoughts and feelings. And that's where, according to Swedenborg, that is where the clashes in the spiritual world around us happen, and you experience them as your consciousness. So when you're beset by these anxieties or this negativity in the mind, that is these thousands of evil spirits pouring in their malice into the human race.
Yeah.
And that's why you have widespread misery and terrible actions done by the human race. You have mental illness. You have everything that is harmful is coming out of this sort of harm generation machine that is all these malintentioned people in the world of consciousness, which is the spiritual world. And then you have all these angels who are protecting you from it. And you can't, even if you never see that, you can see the clash between goodness and evil and truth and falsity in your consciousness. You can observe, and sometimes really like, where did that idea come from?
Yes.
Or like, that never worked before and now it did. Oh, that lifted my spirits when that came in. I was really down. Now I'm up. Now I've come through this hard time and now I actually believe in the existence of God. Those kinds of things.
It actually explains some of the mystery of being a human being, because one of the weirdest things is that we go through these moods, or you're in one state and then the next second you're in a different state. And it helps to show you, sort of lift the veil and see what's behind the scenes on all that. And an analogy that's coming to mind, and I may mess this up, I don't know, but I think there was this long-standing debate about, and you'll know more about this than I do because you live in the physical world, and I don't really bother with it much.
You came down from your mountain to this podcast. You're going right back up.
But isn't there something about that everybody always thought, which is more powerful, killer whale or a great white shark? Who's more powerful? They're both very incredibly physically powerful, amazing. So if they went head to head, who's going to win that battle? And then they were studying this, looking at footage and all this kind of stuff. And they finally got an answer, which is that the killer whale wins in 1 second. And you know what they do?
Flip them upside down.
They flip them upside down. And they go into that, whatever that's a catatonic state. I forget what it's called, ataxia, or I forget what it's called. But they flip them upside down. And then the great white shark is just all spaced out, can't function, Dystonics, I can't remember the name for it, but that idea of the fact that and they were astounded that killer whales know enough about great white sharks to know that amazing thing, which is this thing that's an unbelievable predator when it's the right way up.
Yeah.
It can't even function if it's upside down. And also that once it can't function, it can't move forward, can't breathe, and it drowns. Right?
So that's that they know the truth about the great white shark.
Yeah, that's right. And angels know that about evil spirits. And they're not trying to kill them. They're just trying to neutralize the effect. It's like, no, you can't carry this person away. The Bible talks about it as being like a flood, like the enemy coming in like a flood, and that is, if you pay attention to your inner state, you can see that flood something. It's just like it's on all sides of, there's no escape. You're surrounded by it.
Yeah.
But angels know how to dissipate that. They know how to get rid of that, and they can do it quickly sometimes, where it just boom. And I'm not saying you never have another issue with anything again, but sometimes that issue doesn't play, like you're done with that issue. The angels just solved it.
It's like T cells. So you have a similar experience with sickness in the body, which is you don't really know anything of what's going on in there.
Right.
But then suddenly you get these vague feelings of, oh, I'm congested and I feel achy and, I've got a sore throat. And that's all you know. But inside you, there is this clash of, I don't know how many millions of viruses have gotten in there, and they're replicating. If we're talking about like the common cold, there's all these viruses that are in some part of your body, and there's all these beings rushing to your aid, which are your immune cells, so your T cells and your lymphocytes. I don't even know what they're called, but they all rush in and they go and have this battle where macrophages have to engulf the virus, and they have to cut it off and stop it from getting into this tissue, and everything gets pulled, and antibodies get made, so that there's this whole thing going on, and all you experience is just like, ooh, I don't feel that good today.
Don't have much energy.
No, I think I'll sound congested in the podcast. Is that how congested people? So that's the experience of, even though there's this amazing pageant or war playing out there,
drama, like so. Yeah.
So it is with your the things that go on in your mind. There is similarly sort of the negative effects of stuff. It's not like in you in the same way. It's not in you physically like bacteria and viruses and immune cells are in you, but it connects to your mind. There's a similar interplay there. The spiritual world there's no time and space, so it's not, things can still be affecting you even if they're, the point is it's the same dynamic. It sounds crazy for us to be saying it, but it's just like the germ explanation for why you feel like you feel. This is the germ explanation, the external entity explanation for why you think and have motivations and have a mental experience like you do.
That's right. And what I like about the bloodstream analogy and the sickness analogy is that you might say, oh, well, we may disagree about what's evil. It's just a matter of opinion. On the cellular level, there's things that are trying to kill you. They're trying to take you down. And the way that these viruses, I don't know much about it, but don't they hack right into your DNA and then use your own RNA to reproduce or something? Like they hack your positive system and make it turn into a evil thing multiplying machine and flooding you with this stuff very quickly to try to overwhelm and take you out.
Well, you know what it is, that they can't be there and replicate like that because it's against order. There's an order. I mean, the viruses, if you look in there, it's not always like they're causing great destruct, like they don't have their mini swords out and they're slashing all your cells. But what they're doing is they're getting in the way of stuff, and they're congregating in places, they're disrupting processes that you need to have be in order, and they're putting it out of order. This is just like in the first quote we read, where these angels have all this power, Swedenborg is saying, and he said, if there anything there is in the way and needs to be removed because it is opposed to the divine design, then they mess with it. So your immune system, it just looks around for, there's plenty of bacteria and things that your immune system, that's in you, immune system doesn't touch because it's not causing a problem. But when it's in the way of the design, then they go for it.
When it's interfering, when it's threatening you, and so the forces of good are acting on your behalf, and the forces of evil are trying to take you down.
This power they receive from the goodness belonging to neighborly love, through the truth belonging to faith. Faith comes to them from the Lord, though, so the Lord alone is their power.
That is really, really key, and I'm sure that's going to come up some more.
That's
in
the
show.
next section.
Yeah, yeah. That's really, really key, because
Well,
there is only ultimately one source of this. But when you say neighborly love, or it sounds like such a small. Oh, that's cute. It doesn't sound like something that could change the world, and yet it is. It is the power that could drive evil away. If there really was that kind of regard and love for the neighbor, this world, it's already got lots of it in it. If it had a lot more of that, it would be an even better world.
I'm gonna grant you. You've climbed this mountain. I'm gonna grant you a superhero power. What power is it gonna be? Flight, invisibility, great strength. I will give you the great power of neighborly love. I climbed all the way here up for neighborly love.
That's it. I'm just gonna have compassion for those idiots down in the valley.
It's so. I will say, we did a show just recently that was about angels, or it was 15 facts about angels, and I saw comments in there that were from people saying, "What, this is angel worship? You're not talking about God. What are you talking about angels for? It's about God. What is all this? Is it?"
Yeah.
So if y'all are still watching, 30 minutes into this, 20 minutes into this, thank you for your patience. We will now tell you how it's all about God.
Yes.
That there is no independent power apart from the one power.
And this is really the answer as well to how somebody like you, your ancestor, some ordinary mortal, turned into somebody who has this.
Into an angel. This is Heaven and Hell 230. It does need to be known, though, that angels have absolutely no power on their own, but that all the power they have comes from the Lord. Further, they are powers to the extent that they recognize this fact.
Wow. So that's even part of the package. If you know that, if you say, yes, I admit this has nothing to do with me, sign, then you can pick up your power.
Any of them who believe that their power comes from themselves immediately become so weak that they cannot resist even a single evil spirit. This is why angels take absolutely no credit to themselves and turn down any praise or admiration for anything they have done, but attribute it all to the Lord.
This reminds me of the story of Elisha, if I've got this right, where Elisha does very powerful things. He has this big showdown with the prophets of Baal, and he ends up killing 400 of the prophets of Baal, and
Yikes.
He's really changing the whole landscape. And then Jezebel says, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to do to you what you did to those prophets." And he becomes terrified, and he runs away, and he goes out into the wilderness. And it's a fascinating moment. It's like super strong one moment, and then can hardly function the next.
Yeah.
And angels come and minister to him when he's in that state, and the Lord sort of speaks to him, and then he gets back into the fray and does more powerful things. But I like the fact that this isn't, so it's not quite the same as these, all these different things in wonderful fantasy genres where that power is intrinsic and you develop it and then you always have it. You can always do that thing that you do.
Yeah.
Cause ice or make things, or throw flame or whatever it might be. No, sometimes you have it, and sometimes it's not working right now.
It's like
Not in a good place.
What's the kryptonite?
Yes.
The kryptonite is pride, or the kryptonite is self.
Thinking I am really something. Look at me.
Aggrandizement.
Yeah.
Right.
And it is like kryptonite, as if I understand the way kryptonite works, that it's not permanent. It's not like it permanently takes away your power. It's just in the presence of that kryptonite. You can't function. Later, if you're not close to it, the power comes back.
There is also like a permanent life advice secret of the world universe in that last line for you right now in your life. This is why angels take absolutely no credit to themselves and turn down any praise or admiration for anything they have done, but attribute it all to the Lord. That's something that we're supposed to do as well.
Yeah.
Which is sort of a mystifying concept. It is a a strange balance, a strange, like, really, I can bend in that way at first when you hear it.
Yeah.
That Swedenborg was adamant that, like, you can go and do good things. Understand, when you do something good, the truth of it is God did that. The power to do that came from God. And the wisdom on how to do it came from God. So you take what seems to be yours and you don't want any credit for it. You just say, no, that was God doing that. That will make you happy. Which seems strange, but I do know in practice, who doesn't like someone who's humble? And somebody who is being very successful or has done something incredible, if I see them say, oh, it was just God did it, I'm no better than anyone else, it makes me feel good. So there's like some proof in the pudding that there's something good about it.
Yeah, social media full of stories about, who amongst all the celebrities are jerks and who are just really nice people. Like they just value, it's so treasured, and it's such a surprise in a way when people find, no, they were wonderful. They took pictures with me. They were fine. They weren't weird about it.
Yeah. So then let's get technical. It says, all power belongs to the divine truth that emanates from the Lord. And angels are powers to the extent that they accept divine truth from the Lord. However, angels are open to divine truth to the extent that they are open to divine good, since all the power that truths have comes from good.
Yes.
Well, that's like, okay. Swedenborg always says good and truth. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. All the truths have power from good. What does that mean?
Yeah, it doesn't. So whenever he says divine truth, it's never truth by itself, or it's never truth being harsh or condemning, or, because it comes from the Lord's heart, which is this infinite love, this place of compassion and mercy.
Okay.
And so that's always involved in it. But the deal is, and I talk as if I understand it, but I can't say that I do, that the truth is a vessel. It's a container for that love. If it doesn't have the love inside it, then it's not real truth. And yet somehow, if the love doesn't take the form of truth, it's not actually that powerful. It's sort of like having a mind that knows how to do good, but not having arms that work. Like you can't actually, the truth is somehow the vehicle for how this power is expressed, because it knows precisely, I'm going to take this action as opposed to that action. It's working on some insight or some clarity in the way that it's not just sort of, oh, I'm feeling this amorphous ball of huge love for everybody. But no, what would be effective with this person? The truth part is it all comes from the love. But when the love is channeled through some understanding, some accurate idea of who people are, who you are, how the whole thing works, bang, you can really get things done.
If the goal is the salvation of human beings, which you could say the liberation from misery and unhappiness, that's the point. That's what divine is trying to do, right? Yeah. And so...
And there's a divine truth right there.
Okay.
Right?
So there's a divine truth
right there.
If you use that from a motivation of trying to help people, it will have the impact of helping people. If you use it from some other motivation, self-aggrandizement, to trying to harm people, dominate them, it won't. It has no power to do what's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's right.
Okay. Truths apart from good have none, meaning no power. Further, all the power good has is by means of truth. Good has no power apart from truths. I think that an example of that is just what you said. You can feel immense love for someone, but if let's say you really love somebody who is struggling with addiction of some kind, if you don't really have the knowledge of how to deal with an addiction and what they need then, and what will help them, what will hurt them, and this is something people have studied and figured out. If you don't have that knowledge, you can't you can't help them. Like you can try things and it'll make it worse. And
make it worse. Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much love you have for that. You know, or if somebody's, they are sick and you don't know how to treat it, doesn't matter how much you love them. You got to have that knowledge.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So you can see how putting the love together with the knowledge is very effective, because somebody else could have the knowledge, but I don't care. You know?
Yeah.
And if you don't care, it's like, well, you're never going to apply. Like, why would I apply the knowledge to you? It doesn't matter to me.
Right. Power arises from the union of the two. The same holds true for faith and love, since it is all the same whether you say truth or faith, since everything that makes up faith is true, and whether you say good or love, since everything that makes up love is good.
So I picture angels when they're moving into a situation to try to help somebody. Part of what they have in their mind is knowing, like it helps me to know that people are eternal beings. They're not they're not only the version that you see in front of you. You know, I think when Jesus was moving through the world, he had that perspective of like, yeah, I see what you're going through now, but I also see the potential that's there and the future that's possible. You know, so understanding what a human being is, understanding that the things that are plaguing them come from hell, understanding that the things that bless them come from heaven, you know, from God through heaven, just and much more than that, knowing specifics of where moods come from, or you know, what's, as you say, what's going on in addiction. So when they have that, they can be effective. You know, they can be effective agents for positive change in other people's lives. How fun is that?
Oh, well, that's the point. That's the thing. That's the project. So if all the power comes from good and truth united, a question arises, which is, what about evil? What about the power of evil? So the question is, does evil have any power or not? And unbelievably, Swedenborg says no. Evil has no power whatsoever.
Yeah.
It seems like it has power, but it really doesn't. This is from Heaven and Hell. Since all power belongs to truths from good, deliberate distortions, falsities, have none. All the people in hell are preoccupied with deliberate distortions, so they have no power against what is true and good. However, I will just be describing later the kind of power they have among each other and the kind of power evil spirits have before they are thrown into hell.
Yes. Yeah, so they do have power over the realm of evil. And if we have some kind of evil in our heredity, in the things that we've done or whatever, yes, absolutely. They have power in that arena. I wrestled with this a lot because this teaching didn't make sense to me. Like, I love the idea. Oh, evil has no power.
Sounds
I
great.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in what universe is that the case? Because, you know, it seems to be tremendously powerful. But I thought of this analogy of if you have a dark room and then you turn on the flashlight on your phone, or you got a flashlight or something.
Which I do.
If you're in England, people prefer to have torches, don't they? They use a
G'day,
torch.
Governor. Can I light up your jiffy?
But
sorry, he's from England.
So I'm allowed to do that.
And I'm not, but I have great respect for British culture.
That's right.
Thank
I do
you.
too. I absolutely.
Okay. All right.
That's right. The darkness has no. Is the darkness like, I'm too strong? The darkness says that light shall not come in here. No. Darkness is completely pathetic. As soon as you turn on the light, even if it's just a little wick of a little candle, a little nothing, boom, darkness is gone. It puts up no fight. It has no power whatsoever against light. It's just the absence. It's just an absence. It doesn't. It has. What does it have going for it? And so the place where darkness prevails is where there's already darkness. As soon as light shows up, it's powerless. And that's why one angel can deal with 100,000 evil spirits, because all those evil spirits are thinking those powerless, they may have this rage and they may have these distorted ideas in their heads. They're all living in a fantasy. And one angel that knows what's really going on can deal with all of them in a heartbeat. It's not hard.
Yep.
It's just being in touch with what's actually genuinely true. There's no contest on that level. Now, if you're down in hell and you're with all the evil spirits, absolutely. There's always vying for power, the politics, the churn, and everything. Yes.
Yeah. This is how I understand that seemingly paradoxical statement from Swedenborg that evil has no power. When is there not suffering? Isn't that the power of evil that causes suffering? Don't evil people, aren't they able to do terrible things that don't bad things happen to people? And so it makes sense. Evil has no power when you understand time in the equation. So what is power? Power is essentially being able to exert your will, get the outcomes that you want.
Yes.
That's I would say a pretty good definition of power, is that what I get to make what I want to have happen.
Right.
Ultimately, nothing evil wants to have happen happens. So the way that Providence works it is that all the things evil tries to do when it tries to attack a person, Providence uses that to actually make the person more heavenly. And it brings us through these trials that are brought on by hell into loving goodness and truth more, brings us deeper into heaven. So all the suffering that they want to cause ultimately leads you to be happier in the long run because it wakes you up spiritually. So the very thing that hell did not want, which is for you to be happy, actually you're happier. So in the end, it's thwarted. And all that, if you're someone who devotes their life to evil, and you do a bunch of evil things, and you to aggrandize yourself and make yourself powerful, what you're doing through that is actually you're degrading and destroying the quality of your own spirit, which leads you into this more and more restricted and menial and powerless afterlife. Because in the afterlife, it's like this, where evil has no power. Here, evil can seem to have power, but so ultimately all of your working to try to become powerful makes you less and less powerful. And so the people who choose good get more and more happy. The people who choose evil get less and less happy, which is the opposite of what evil wants. So in the long run, everything evil does backfires. Every atrocity it causes people to commit wakes people up and makes them understand love. And everything, that's the doctrine of divine providence from Swedenborg. Yeah. Everything evil does turns out to have the opposite effect in the long run. It can cause suffering. We suffer through things because of it, 100%. However, once the suffering passes and the good that Providence brings out of it takes hold and it starts to pay these dividends for your happiness to eternity, the equation balances so that nothing evil wanted to have happen has happened. Same thing with Jesus. Jesus Christ. It was like, yeah, man, hell's going to attack. We're going to crucify you. It's going to be so bad. And there's so much good came out of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what the Lord wanted was, I want you to have development and growth and satisfaction and deal with your own problems and so on. And all of that happens, like the Lord wins in all that. Another thing that I've wrestled with is the question of equilibrium, because Swedenborg also talks, so it really doesn't make sense cognitively, like it was difficult for me to say that good and evil you're in an equilibrium between good and evil. One side of which has all the power and the other has no power. Well, in equilibrium, there's 14 pounds per square inch on every inch of our body from all sides. It's not that this side has no power and this side has power. How could you have an equilibrium between something that has power and something that has no power? And I finally realized, it's that the angels let the evil spirits come all the way up to here and do whatever they want up to this point, but not beyond this line. That's the way it works. And it's just because good is in charge. If evil was in charge, would it let good have as much as it wanted all the way up to this line and then you have to say, no, No, they'd annihilate the whole thing. They'd love to destroy the heavens if they possibly could.
Yeah.
And so that made, okay, it's the kindness of the Lord and of the angels, and it's for what's useful for us, because half evil, half good, like in the influence on us, is a good condition for our spiritual growth. In fact, it's necessary. Like that's an optimal environment, for our little spirits to grow in.
Yeah. That's cool. Is it really 14 pounds per square inch?
That's
Seems
a lot.
You think about a 14-pound weight, bong, bong, bong,
Every
bong,
square
bong.
inch.
Man.
And we just move freely through.
This is why when people say, do you want to go to Jupiter? I always say, absolutely not. Pounds per square inch there? Absolutely. You're
right.
crazy. You go do that. I'm not going there. One bit. This is Heaven and Hell 232. I have been able to see how much power angels have through truths from good, from the fact that when angels simply look at them, evil spirits fall down in a faint and no longer look human. And this lasts until the angel looks away.
Look away, look away, you're killing me.
Right. The truth just like, oh man, can't sit. False. And that's just the way it is. Like if you have schemes and wiles and shameful things you're doing, just being seen doing them is like, oh,
just being seen, and just this unflinching, honest look.
Yeah.
Like there's some people in this world, aren't there, who can, like their trick is just to look at you and they don't say anything. So did you do it? And then they don't say anything.
Well,
and then you do it, and then they just don't say anything. And so you finally, just from the look in their eye, you just, yeah, I did it. I didn't mean to do it, or something. And finally the truth comes out.
Yeah. The reason this sort of thing results from the gaze of angels is that their sight comes from the light of heaven, and heaven's light is divine truth. Eyes correspond to truths from good.
And that's why the eyes, because as a sort of aggressive instrument, an eye doesn't seem, it's a little squishy ball of gooey squishiness, doesn't seem like it would, oh, I know something. Hands are arguably more powerful. Elbows, you kick somebody or something like that. I'm going to get you with my eyeballs.
Yeah.
But because of the correspondence of what that is, that the light of heaven is actually coming out of their eyes and showing what they are, where they don't even look, they don't even look human in that light. And that's very painful for the evil spirits, because they have a story to themselves about I'm a decent person. They have, and their story just is shattered by this light coming out of the angel's eyes. And the angels don't do it to be nasty. It's just like, hey, if you're doing the wrong thing, I'm going to look at you. That's my big punishment. I'm going to look at you and see what you are.
Yeah. Well, the power that the truth has over evil is obvious in the phenomenon of the life review. The people who get in a car accident or something and they almost die, they'll have all across the world, all across cultures, people will have they'll see their life, my life flash before my eyes.
Yes.
And people who have a more
they all say that.
involved near-death experience where they actually go and are conscious of, I'm somewhere else, and there's a presence beside me who's showing me this. What happens? I'm thinking of Daniel Brinkley, who had a near-death experience that he wrote a best-selling book about, and he said he had done all kinds of things that were not good in his life.
Yes.
And what happens is nobody comes and says what you were doing was bad. You're a bad person. You should feel bad about it. All it does is shows you the truth. And the only thing that is you go back into these moments in your life and you feel not just what you were feeling,
yes,
but what everyone you were interacting with was feeling.
The impact on other people. Yeah.
And that's all that is just more information about the reality of the situation. From that, everybody who goes through these is like, oh yeah. For the things that are not good, instantly they realize, like, I shouldn't have done that. That's the power of the truth over evil. All the justifications or anything.
That's a great example.
It's just the truth. It's just the truth. And it has a permanent impact on people because they just undeniably see, oh man, that's true.
Yeah. And that's what they said about Jesus. nobody ever spoke like this. I think what he did was go around and tell the loving truth to people.
Truth will set you free.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Because it would help people. Because it doesn't actually help you. You know, often when you do, I know in Daniel Brinkley's case, I think it was part of a military operation, where you have some story to yourself, or that there's a collective story about what I had to, I had to do this. I remember, didn't he blow up like a whole hotel, kill all these people to get one person?
I don't remember.
I think so. There was something like that, pretty massive. Well, you've got some story. I was doing what I was told, or you've got a story to yourself about that. You have to sort of deal with it, or compartmentalize it, do something with that. But what does that do if it's not true? How does that help you move forward? Like a false story about what happened. It doesn't help. It's not. It doesn't do much for you. But the truth coming in, well, now you can. There's all these analogies in the Bible about where you're in a pit full of miry clay, and then you need to be lifted out and get your feet on solid rock. You can't, in the clay, you can't move, quicksand, those sorts of things. When you get out and you get on the rock, now you can move forward, because even if it was terribly painful truth, you can move forward from there, because you're not in la land, you're sort of in reality, in touch with what is. And that can move you forward. And it's not intended as a condemnation. It's not intended, it's not I'm going to devastate you with this truth. It's for our betterment, for our long-term good.
Hey, if you're enjoying watching this, leave us a tip. There's that little button there, right there? $2 on that thing. We're not for profit, so all of the cameras, equipment, the editing, the research, everything that goes into making this show happen is funded by viewers like you. If you feel like it's great and worth $2, give us a $2 tip. Thanks, back to the show. So even though angels have this power and only comes from God, right? So there's just one source of power. Each angel does have unique power.
Okay.
It's
not a one-size-fits-all.
No, it's not interchangeable.
Okay.
Heaven and Hell 231. It is the divine truth emanating from the Lord that possesses all power in the heavens, because the Lord in heaven is divine truth united to divine good. To the extent that angels are open to this, they are powers. Right, we've got that. Next, he says, further, each individual angel is her or his own truth and own good, because the nature of each one is determined by her or his discernment and intent. Discernment being a matter of what is true, because all its functions originate in truths, and intent being a matter of what is good, because all its functions originate in aspects of the good. We're getting a lot of good and truth this episode.
That's right.
You see, whatever we understand, we call true, and whatever we intend, we call good. This is why each one of us in his or her own truth is his or her own truth and own good. Therefore, to the extent to which an angel is truth from the divine and good from the divine, that angel is a power, because the Lord is with her to that extent. Further, since no one enjoys the same good and truth as anyone else, for in heaven and in this world there is constant variety, one angel does not enjoy the same power as another.
That's a great little piece of reasoning. I like that. Because what we were saying before, it's not that the angels have this power. They have it from this goodness and truth. And then when you say each angel is their own goodness and their own truth, and this too, it may sound strange when you first say it, but when you look around at people that you know well, isn't what makes us unique that one of us is so interested in this or no, and because they're interested in it, they've learned a lot about it and they have an insight. And when people die and leave this world, it leaves a big hole, because that's irreplaceable. You know, that uniqueness, that unique understanding, that unique ability or art or whatever it was that they delivered, there's nobody else who does it exactly quite that way with that spirit that they had. And so because goodness and truth equals power, I'm just saying the same thing Swedenborg just said, but it's actually making sense to me. You know, I don't know, but that's what makes that we can already see our superpowers a little bit, like the beginnings of them, right? Because we love this, we understand that, and that will develop into our unique abilities, because that's the power. Some people can look at somebody and see what their history was or what they're suffering, or people can look at somebody and figure out what their illness, you know, what their bodies need, and so on. It's just, we encounter people in this world who have these amazing gifts that somebody else doesn't have.
Well, let's say that God wanted to put on a play. Say that he had in mind, look, there's this play that I want to put on because everyone who comes and watches it, it's going to affect them in this way. And so I really want to do it. I'm going to get thousands of people are going to come watch this play. So I want to put on this play. So that desire and that vision for the play, he sends it out. God sends that out. And it's somebody who's on the crew to make that play. Let's say that there's somebody, first of all, it hits someone as the idea to have that play. There's a certain person who, there maybe me, that comes in, but I don't think about what plays to make and everything. I don't think I could ever start a production. So, but somebody receives that will from God, and it pops up. It's like, I think I'm going to make this play. I think I'm going to make a play. And then, it also manifests as, okay, I got to gather this certain team and like the ideas for who the team is. And then once people are gathered, some people get hit by that and they like, well, I know how to build, I'm going to go build this set. Somebody else is like, oh, I'm going to figure out the lights for this. Other people are like, I'm going to act in this, or I'm going to recruit actors. There's all this desire to see the finished thing hits people in different ways. And then that's the team. And that's how the same thing coming out of God does these different impacts that everyone did, because that's the kind of person they are. A very clear analogy Swedenborg will use for this all the time is the sun, the power of the photons from the sun and different kinds of plants. So you have the same exact sunlight, exact sunlight is going and hitting all these different, germinating all these different seeds in the soil. The form of the plant, what kind of stem it has, what kind of leaves it has, it's all dictated by the nature of the receptacle. So the DNA that's in there, the instructions, that is, it's the same photon power that photosynthesizes and does that, but that same power leads to very different results because of the nature of like the catcher's mitt that each different seed is.
I think it was yesterday that my wife brought home a cabbage. It was about this big with huge leaves. She actually made a centerpiece in our dining room table out of this thing, and some other acorn squash and stuff. This thing was so massive. No Brussels sprout has ever dreamed of being that big. And it's taking the same nourishment, the same rain, the same, minerals that are in the soil. And okay, this one's a cabbage, that one's corn, this one's beets. It is amazing, isn't it? And fun to think about. I liked your idea about the play because the original vision casting was done from the divine. And then people say, oh yeah, and you could have sound effects, and I know how to do that, so I'll work on the sound effects. It would be just right to supplement that. And you get a little mini image of heaven in that.
Brussels sprouts are good.
They are good.
They got sort of a bad rap as the thing that kids don't like now, but now when I learn something has Brussels sprouts with it, I would tuck into a gigantic Brussels sprout, no problem.
I have to confess, even as a child, I liked them.
I'm going to give you a Charlie horse.
I deserve that. I deserve to be teased for that.
Now let's talk about the angels as the arm of heaven.
What an expression.
The angels who constitute the arm in the universal human, or heaven, have the most power because they are the ones who more than any others are focused on things true, and good flows into their truths from the entire heaven.
So it's amazing to think about how the arm is taking all this nourishment that the lungs fed into the blood and is being distributed by the heart, and that's all coming down. And now the arm's like, I can see what can be done with this, with this energy. We can do something good here. So it's really cool to think about the arms, that power in heaven.
I never know. I guess if we're this deep into the show, it's like, do I even need to try to make this sound normal to people? But if this is somebody's first show,
Can't be done.
The arm, angels that are the arm of. So think of you can think of all of heaven like a human body.
That's right.
Because
like one
human body, and
right.
because all these different people with all their different talents function like the different parts of the body. The body is the ultimate design. So there's, think about what your arms do. You got carry boxes, you got to push over trees, the things that you do with strong arms.
That's right.
Yeah, you got to roll like a big giant can down the road, You do that with the power of your arms. So what's the most powerful thing? Truth. So the angels that would be the arms are the ones that have the most truth. But then you made the point. The goodness flows in. So everything else the body's making in there powers the firing of those muscle cells and all that, lets the arms do their thing.
Swedenborg has great stuff about how it is kind of amazing that you don't have a whole lot of muscles in your hand. You have some small ones. So
that's a low blow, man.
But there's not you first.
Okay, you were looking right at me when you. I have good.
But he
grip
talks
strength.
about how the shoulder, even from the shoulder to the hand, how that power is kind of transferred. It's amazing design.
Yeah.
To where these things can be quite light, and nimble and so on, but can exercise a lot of power coming from it comes from elsewhere and is transferred. And it's a cool design. And so to think about angels that have that function where, okay, all this is summed up and it's coming down into, okay, I'm the one that's actually doing this action, and it's got all this power in those hands.
Dude, this is what he's about to say.
What?
So too, all our strength is concentrated in our arms, and the whole body expresses its powers through them. This is why arms and hands in the word mean power. You're going to hear a lot of sit up my right hand, his strong right arm, work of my hands. Is your arm lengthened so that uses that all the time as symbolic language. This is why.
Yeah. A lot of people haven't understood why it says that Jesus would sit at the right hand of God. But if you actually study your Bible, you'll see that God is never sitting to the left of Jesus. It's because right hand
is a symbol.
Means the power. It's that because it's the truth that has love in it and is right on your level to be able to get things done for you.
Sometimes a bare arm appears in heaven that has so much power that it could crush any obstacle, even if it were a boulder on earth. Once it moved toward me, and I saw that it could crush my bones to powder.
I love that for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's cool that and he mentions this a number of times, that you see this, and sometimes people just run screaming when this thing appears, or just to see something that has that boulder crushing power in it.
Let's talk about the will and the intellect, the power of the two faculties of the human mind.
I knew it was going to come to this.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a foreshadowing with all that goodness and truth nonsense. Right. People who do not know anything about the spiritual world and its inflow into the natural world cannot grasp the fact that angels have power. They think that angels cannot have power because they're spiritual and so pure and insubstantial that they cannot even be seen by our eyes. People who probe more deeply into the causes of things, though, feel otherwise about it. Kind of like Goofus and Gallant. Do you know Goofus and Gallant? There's a Highlights magazine. Was a magazine when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like Goofus throws his homework over the edge of the wall and walks away. Gallant does his homework and hands it in on time. It's kind of Swedenborg's setting.
Such important life lessons right there.
They are aware that all the power we ourselves have comes from our intellect and volition, since without these we cannot move the slightest parts of our bodies. Intellect and volition are our spiritual person. This person is what animates the body and its members at will. For the mouth and tongue say what it thinks, and the body does what it intends. It even bestows energy at will. Our intention and discernment are governed by the Lord through angels and spirits. And since this is true of our intention and discernment, it is true of all aspects of our bodies, because these latter come from the former. Believe it or not, we cannot move a step without the inflow of heaven.
That is an amazing. I love. I know I haven't said this on the show before, but I actually love Swedenborg's stuff. Like, it's just great. I know I act all diffident, like I don't really care about it.
Mr. Neutral Observer over here.
I know. I have to confess, time is short. I should tell the world that I actually love this stuff.
What do you love about that?
Because it's got such a sense of hierarchy. I love the fact that he's looking at what is really making this thing. What's really going on here? Mm. And what's really going on is that we have a will, and we have an understanding, an intellect, and it may look like, oh, well, you're a powerful, football player in the NFL. Yes, but you're a will and an intellect in that, amazing physical, strong body that you have, and that's what's driving you. That's where your strength comes from. That's where your energy comes from. Other people don't have. I don't particularly want to get hit by another, the 300-pound person on a football field. But some people are longing to get out there and do that. And so seeing that everybody, it's true for everybody. And then he just goes the next leap to say, yes, and your will and your intellect are influenced by spirit. So this is the power that angels have, because angels they don't mess around with your toenail or something, because that's not what's running the show. Contrary to all appearance, your toenail is not actually in charge. What's in charge is your heart and your mind, and they're in your heart and mind because that will affect your all the way down to your toenails. I'm being silly, but but
toenails.
That's where it comes from. That's the chain of command. That's where it comes from. And so angels are applying their energy at the place that'll do the most good, that'll go down, radiate through the whole person.
It seems like, from what you're saying, like if I put this tablet on top of this cup, I don't know if any angel could knock that tablet off of there, because of the way that they're non-physical.
They're non-physical.
So I don't know. Maybe there's some way of correspondence, but in general, probably 100 of them, 1,000 of them got together. They can't knock that off. However, they could get me to knock it off.
Yes, they could.
If they didn't care about my free will.
They could give you that idea. They could create the circumstances where you would have that idea and think about
what's the dominant,
and want to do that.
What is the dominant power that shapes the state of the face of planet Earth? It's the will of human beings.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not being mystical or anything.
No.
I just mean, why do we have the things and roads and shipping and power lines? It didn't used to always be like, but certainly at this point you could argue that's the force that shapes it, is the will of human beings. What is it? This
is the world that we want. This is what we care about. We care tremendously about roads. Like, roads are a really big deal. We want to be able to get, so if there's a snowstorm, first thing we got to do is we're going to take care of those roads, because that's the top priority.
So the struggle for power is the struggle of heaven and hell over the will of human beings, because that affects the physical world. There's the whole spiritual world behind that. So angels do have an incredible amount of power, because everything that's ever, this is how you say, we were talking about it earlier, this is how you can look around and say, oh, actually God did that, because angels don't have any power. It comes from God.
It comes from God.
And we don't have any power, because without the inflow of heaven, we can't move a step. So everything, if you go and look at what's that thing, the Acropolis in Greece or something, God built that.
Yeah.
Because even though you can set a camera there and time lapse it and see them building the whole thing, and you never see God coming down out of that, all the power that made it, and the knowledge and the desire, that's the only thing that would motivate people to do that and make it happen. Unseen to us, that comes out of the divine through angels, right?
Right.
That we're talking about?
Yeah. And the first thing that, with so many things, the first thing that happens is an idea and a desire. That's the first thing that happens. Like somebody was walking through a field and noticed that the burrs get stuck on your socks, and they start to, well, wait, maybe that would be a better fastener than shoelaces, or maybe you could do something with that. And they invent Velcro. I love all that, all the biomimicry. Is that what you call it? There's just all these things where they take things in nature and then they figure out, oh wait, we could do that. And so there's an idea, there's an insight, and there's a drive to, like, this could make things so much easier for people who are packing their kids off to go to school. Like, you just whoosh, whoosh, and their shoes are on. You don't have to mess around with, oh wait, your shoelaces coming untied, and
Man, there's got to be a Chuck Norris meme in there, like, Chuck Norris doesn't do biomimicry, animals mimic him, or something. This is Swedenborg continuing. I have been shown that this is true, meaning that angels, we can't walk a step without the inflow of heaven. I have been shown that this is true by a great deal of experience. Angels have been allowed to activate my walking, my actions, my tongue, and my conversation as they wished, by flowing into my intention and thinking. And I learned at first hand that I could do nothing on my own. They told me later that everyone is governed in this way, and that we might learn this from the doctrine of the church and from the word. We actually pray that God will send his angels who may lead us, guide our steps, teach us, and inspire us as to what we should think and say, and so on. This, even though we talk and believe quite differently in our private thoughts apart from doctrine. These things have been mentioned to illustrate the kind of power angels have with us. So there's this idea out there in Christianity and elsewhere that you'd say, like, please give me the strength to get through this, or please, make me good, or whatever you're praying for. People have different things on their mind. What are you really asking for? You're asking for an outside influence on what's going to ultimately end up being your behavior. And because Swedenborg had this extrasensory perception, to us, what we'd never sense clearly, he sensed clearly. Oh, I can tell now when this is an angel doing this right now.
Yeah. And every good idea for how our earth could work better would come from people who were inspired by angels. That's where those things, all the inventions, all the things that have come about in the world, that's where it comes from. It comes from a great idea, and then you take action on it, and people work together on it. So they're very powerful in our world, and yet I love that they get zero credit. Well, occasionally somebody will say, well, thank you, in a vague way to the nothingness, but you don't know who exactly inspired that thought. We just get, hey, I came up with Velcro. Isn't that great?
But there's limits to what angels can do for us. This is Secrets of Heaven 5992. The angels through whom the Lord leads and protects us are near our head. Their job is to inspire neighborly love and faith. They also watch the direction our pleasures take, taming them and bending them toward goodness so far as our freedom allows them to. They are not permitted to act violently, breaking our cravings and our assumptions, but must proceed gently.
Yeah.
So they have to go at the pace that we can go at, because otherwise it would harm us to just be forced into things.
And talk about power. I mean, the ultimate hack, what is more of a hack than to be able to hack into people's intentions and thoughts? If you could actually plant in somebody else the idea that they want something, and they'll do anything they can to get
Inception.
it.
The movie Inception is that.
That's right.
Yeah,
right.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
It's all about the implanting of these. Yeah. Put thoughts in there. Put feelings in there. So that power has to be used responsibly, and that's why the angels have that power. And evil spirits evil spirits can absolutely plant evil desires, and they can plant thoughts of, this would be a nasty way to do this or that. They can plant things in there. But it's a tightly controlled environment, because the human race could, you got to be careful with that power.
Actually, angels are protecting us a lot more than we realize all the time. This is from the same number. Another function angels have, is to control the evil spirits from hell. And they do it in countless ways, of which I may mention only this one. When evil spirits flood us with evil and falsity, which again, you would only experience as thoughts and feelings.
Right. Mood.
Mood, deluge of negativity, or like some kind of
despair,
rage.
Rage.
Anything evil. So everything on the spectrum from despair and misery and hopelessness, which are sort of under siege, to road rage and aggression,
desire for
hatred, so anything in there. Angels instill truth and goodness. Even if we do not accept the truth and goodness, they use it to at least temper the evil and falsity. Hellish spirits constantly attack us, and angels protect us. That is the way of things. Most of all, angels regulate our desires, since these constitute our life and our freedom. Angels watch to see whether hells that were not open before open up and flow into us, which happens when we take to some new evil. So far as we allow, angels shut off these hells and remove any spirits to try to emerge from them. They also dissipate any strange new inflows that have an evil effect. So they're basically pruning us. They're, to the extent that we allow it, you see, like, is there anything, because they can see our spiritual state and how we're being influenced, and which is relative to the actions and things we're doing in the world, like, oh, you're starting to get into this, or so we can try to head that off if we can. Above all, angels call on the goodness and truth we have and use it to block the evil and falsity stirred up by evil spirits. We stand in the middle and do not recognize either the evil or the goodness as such. Being in the middle, we are free to turn toward one or the other. It just seems like, here's just all my thoughts and feelings in my life.
Yeah.
And
I can turn this way, I can turn yeah.
These are the kinds of ways angels from the Lord lead and safeguard us, which they do every moment and every fraction of a moment. If they stopped for only a second, we would plunge headlong into evil, from which we could never again be led away. Well, that's that equilibrium. Like, if hell's pushing on one side, heaven's pushing on the other. If heaven just said, all right, we couldn't just alone resist the force of that 14 million pounds per square inch that hell's trying to put on.
If heaven took a 16th of a second off, it's all over. And so I just have the mental image of, because we can so often go through life feeling like, I don't know if there's a God. I don't know if God cares about me or knows what's going on. I say these prayers, and most of them aren't ever answered. And I don't know if anybody even cares.
And I got my oil light, check oil light is on, or
Yeah, I know. Or right at the same time as that other bill came due, so
this person
nobody cares.
Said this about me, and now I'm thinking about it.
And if you could peel back the veil, imagine, I don't know if this happens after we die in addition to a life review, but wouldn't it be amazing to sort of ask and say, hey, could you just show me what was done for me while I was alive? And they peel it back and they show you thousands of times you were rescued over and over again,
Yeah.
And this group that just worked tirelessly to keep you just being a miserable, neurotic human being, and not a devil from the worst hell or something,
So it must be it is frustrating to be a person and to kind of live in this gray area a decent amount of the time where, it's like, wait, I'm just kind of got the challenges of my life. Is God out there? And all that. I think that's the equilibrium, though. I think there has to be that state where you're in the equilibrium, where you see around you life, and you see people, and you see situations, and you have the choice to like, how are you going to devote your energy? What are you going to pursue and try to believe and live by? That's the equilibrium. The truth, the hopefully the value we can add in this conversation is to know, like, oh, you are at the center of a lot of care and attention. That there is every moment, there is quite a lot of energy being put into looking out for your life, where it's going. And always with Providence, it's the eye toward, what kind of angel are you going to become? How am I going to set it up so that you become the kind of person who can be happy forever? Because the body's going to die pretty soon.
Yeah.
Sometime.
That's right.
Could be 80 years, could be 10 years, pretty soon. Relative. And we're trying to get you to be the person you're supposed to be. And you know what it's just like? I once went and saw this exhibit called Body Worlds.
Yes.
And it was showing you all this stuff. It was in some big museum in Philadelphia, I think. It was showing you all the things that go on in the human body and all this amazing stuff. And I just had this distinct impression afterwards that, wow, everybody is such a big deal. You just kind of think like, I'm here and I'm kind of frumpy and I missed my bus.
Right.
And nobody really wants to talk to me. And while you're sitting there thinking, there's these trillions of reactions going on inside you. The amount of energy and effort going into continuing your life, just cell division and respiration and neurotransmitters, and so much is going on to preserve your life at that moment. It's like this, but this is on the not just to keep your physical form going. This is to protect your spirit and to secure a future for you. There's so much attention. There's like the Houston, we have a problem, that NASA control room of people who are just like, that's like the care of God in heaven is just like, this person, we are so invested in the future of this person.
That's right. And they cheer when there's success, and the whole control room just erupts. Because you're somebody's project. There's a whole bunch of people working. And I thought the show hasn't been bizarre enough so far. So I thought if I could add a little bit more bizarreness, just to sort of even it up a little bit, part of what I see as a purpose of this show, see it mentioned in there that the angels work with the thoughts, with the things that you know, right?
Yes.
They can't put new stuff in there. They have to work with they've got to cook with what you've got in your fridge now. They don't bring more food. They cook with what you've already got on hand. Part of what this show does, to my mind, is to try to put some more ingredients in people for their angels to use when things get tough.
Yeah.
Because angels, if you had better quality food, I could have made you a better meal, says the angel. I'm just working with what you've got here. And that's why it's important to get these ideas out there. It's such a strange thing to say. It's a strange way to think. But I do, having been helped so much in certain difficult states myself, just seeing how they can rescue you, it's like, I've benefited so much from Swedenborg's. These concepts have helped me so much. And you can't tell because all it did was make me a weird person, But believe me, it could have turned out a lot worse even than this, a lot worse. And so it makes me grateful for these concepts that angels were able to use, where they can grab something from the Bible, there's something from Swedenborg, and bing, and just deal with it at that right moment. So I'm joining Swedenborg's project of wanting to get these concepts out there because I think it will strengthen heaven's hand in dealing with people and what they face.
If you just ask people, or there's a couple times, or a number of times we've asked during a show or in the comments, like what spiritual concepts help you, and people always have them. The people
Yeah.
have like phrases from the Bible that come to them when they're down, or there's like a serenity prayer, or some Buddhist saying, or something a relative of theirs said. There's these ideas that get activated in that.
Your toolkit, right? It's,
and that's I think the argument here is that is the effects of this angelic influence, that when there's negative stuff that's coming into you, what the angels try to do is get one of those phrases or concepts to pop, and then you hear it and feel it, and that redirects your feelings and things.
Yeah.
Our last section, abdomen. I was just thinking like insects have segments. Is how the angels work with the deeper parts of us. I'm a great host. I'm a great guide through this. Like I paint
amazing.
these landscapes.
I sit here and marvel.
It's like it's Secrets of Heaven 3796. The reason the aim determines whether a desire is real, feigned, or deceitful is that our purpose is our very life. What we live for, in other words, what we love, is what we hold as our goal. So this is the importance of our goals on equipping the angels to help us.
Ah, okay. Another thing that can help them. Yeah.
When the welfare of our neighbor, the larger community, the church, and the Lord's kingdom forms our goal, our soul dwells in the Lord's kingdom and therefore in the Lord. Okay, so what you have as your purpose in life changes your spiritual location. The Lord's kingdom is nothing other than a kingdom of purposes and usefulness seeking the good of the whole human race. Okay, so what my kingdom is not of this world, and that's something Jesus says.
Yeah.
So then what's the dividing line between this is the kingdom of the Lord, this is not the kingdom of the Lord? Here we have a dividing line, which is that a kingdom of purposes and usefulness. So you have to purpose and want to do something useful. To what end? Seeking the good of the whole human race.
Yeah.
So if you have something that seeks ultimately the good of the whole human race, that doesn't mean it's only things that can, let's say on earth, affect all 8 billion people. But if you're saying, I would think, I work with kids with learning disabilities. And the reason that I'm doing that is I want this particular child to have a way to overcome some of that and be able to learn more effectively so they can go out into society and be useful, and society will function better. If you can't see at home, I'm spreading my arms wider and wider. That looks outward to just the good of the human race, right? That's what it is.
Yeah.
Versus if it's, I'm going to sell this snake oil to these people and it won't really help them, but it costs $49.95 and then I'll be rich.
Yeah.
That's outside because it looks smaller and smaller into yourself.
That's right. And at others' expense, obviously. Yeah. In several different, like it cost them money and it hurt them. So, they pay for it twice. I can see how the purpose would help the angels. Like I can see how, I mean, we're all kind of a mess, aren't we? You know, and so various different influences. So hell will say, okay, well, hey, you know, here's a place where you could, be self-centered or try to establish dominance over somebody, or you could get the upper hand or whatever it is, but I can see how if you have a purpose, the angels could say, well, yes, but yes, if that's going to be the best for everybody, because that's what we're going for. And it also strikes me that that's a really ambitious, huge goal, to say like the benefit of the whole human race. And yet, if it's something short of that, isn't it kind of the tribalism?
No, totally.
Isn't it sort of narcissistic, or it's narrow? It falls a little short if everybody isn't on that goal list. If they aren't somebody to be benefited.
Oh yeah. Well, there's this piece of trash on the sidewalk. I'm gonna pick it up, put it in the trash can. I would think that you can be doing that with a look towards the goodness. If you're doing it elsewhere, he phrases it, just because it's good. It's like, well, look, we first of all, this is going to, people's mood when they walk down the street is going to be better because there's not that clutter and things. Yep. This is going to keep this styrofoam thing out of the waterways, which is going to not hurt the fish and then the ecosystem and any people that are going to eat the fish or whatever. Like that, I'm just going to do this thing. Absolutely. And that little thing, if it's done for the purpose of, this is good. This is good. This is the right thing to do. Anything this is the right thing to do implicitly, even if you don't think it overtly, it's got that in there. That's like that's team human race.
Yep. They've done studies that are fascinating about the reinforcing effects both ways with these things. If you have a trash can there out on the street, and then there's also items of garbage lying around that aren't in the can, people, not everybody, but people will tend to just toss their stuff on the street because somebody else did. I mean, obviously nobody cares, right? So there's like 20 pieces of trash here. What difference is 21 pieces? It doesn't make it broken window effect. Yeah. But if it's all clean around the can, almost everybody will toss it in the can. Yeah. Because I guess we collectively are not, we care about our streets. We care about keeping it clean and we'll put it in the can.
On the other hand, you can go see that trash and be thinking, well, this is 16th Street and we're way better than the people on 15th Street. And I always know, because when I see them at the store, I'm like, you live there in that dump. So I'm going to clean this up. If I'm walking on 15th Street, I would drop trash on that same action of cleaning up the trash can be outside the Lord's kingdom, depending on what's your purpose. Angels work with the purposes.
Or whatever. Yeah, that's right.
Even the angels who attend us concern themselves only with our goals. Right, so it's not a ledger of what'd you do, what'd you not do, that's good or bad, because actions...
What? I thought the whole thing was what?
Actions, it's not about the actions, it's about the purpose. What's the intent? Why'd you try to do that? It's the thought that counts.
But isn't the road to hell paved with good intentions? Isn't that what they say?
Yeah, but they just made that up. It's not really true.
I think Swedenborg actually says, in effect, the road to heaven is paved with good intentions. Angels regard your intention and help you out. It's amazing how powerful, and people know this. You don't have to read Swedenborg to know this. That your intention, like before I do a gig or give a talk or something, I'll think about what I intend, what my purpose is for it. What's amazing how often that thing will happen, even if it's something completely beyond my control. I want people to feel rejuvenated, or something like that. I don't know how to make people feel rejuvenated. Yeah. And yet it's amazing how often that purpose will be honored, because I think the Lord and the angels, okay, hey, it says on the purpose sheet, rejuvenation. Okay, we'll make people feel rejuvenated.
If you at home thank you for watching this long into the show. We appreciate it very much.
Both of you.
Mom and Dad, hi.
Love you.
If you want to bind yourselves, we're going to give you a secret since you made it this far, which is how to bind yourself to angels, how to connect with angels so that they feel like they're your sisters and brothers. Okay, this is all you got to do. So far as our ultimate goal matches that of the Lord's kingdom, the angels delight in us and bind themselves to us as their sisters or brothers.
Delight in is an interesting thing. It's not just sort of reluctantly adopt. And it might take a while to get there, but didn't it say delight? Like if that really lights you up, the thought that, hey, this is it. The human race is moving forward. Look, we got more love in the world. We got more understanding.
Yeah, so that's it. The ultimate goal, the goal of the Lord's kingdom is the good of everyone.
Yeah.
Good to everyone. And as long as we have that same goal in our life, you got it. You're in with the angels. So far as we make ourselves the ultimate goal, though, the angels withdraw and evil spirits from hell move closer. The people in hell have no other goal. The state of hell is just a state in which, what's the most important thing in the universe? Me.
That's right.
No, not you. Me.
No,
you pointed to yourself. But
yeah, I know. I'm sorry, I got it wrong. Yeah, it is you actually.
well, no, I thought it was me. That's what hell is. So that it's real simple. Now, it doesn't mean if you have the ultimate goal of the good of the human race, that you don't care about yourself. You can be taking great care of yourself. You can have great feelings toward yourself and all that. It's just not the point of life. You get yourself into their state you need to. You can show yourself affection, great, but that's not where it stops. I serve something higher than myself. Whereas hell is just, what's this all for? What's the main character and everything? What is every action of mine toward me? That's it. I want to feel good. I want to become the most important, whatever form it takes. That's a hallmark of hell. Whereas heaven is love. It's love for everyone.
Yeah. And what is that? I can't remember the saying. I know they used to have a adjective instead of an adverb in it, but what was it? Something act local, like something global. What was it?
Think globally, act locally.
Act locally. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because you could exhaust yourself. I mean, we're tiny little human beings. You could totally burn yourself out trying to benefit. Well, I only got half of the Philippines benefited, and now I got to do the other.
Okay.
Half. You could wear yourself out. But but if you understand, because that's the nature of heaven, if you understand that there's a big thing going on, and then my helping this person, this animal, this tree, whatever's in front of you, is part of that thing. It's a whole world unto itself, and that has the ripple effect that you need.
We don't want to we're not trying to introduce confusion or something abnormal into your goal setting. Like, I have to think about the whole world. If you've made it this far, it's just my mom now. My dad signed out.
Okay.
But if you've made it this far, he's like, I cannot. If they're not done yet, go mow the lawn. No, just kidding. Elsewhere, he puts this as, you can be having the Lord's kingdom as your goal if you do something good because it's the right thing to do.
Yes.
That's it. It's as simple as, I want to do this because it's the right thing to do versus I want to do this because I'm trying to get something out of it.
Yeah.
That's the whole, that is think globally, act locally. That you don't have to, sure, sometimes you step back and think about the bigger project and how can but day to day, practically, it's like, I'll do this because it's good. I act with integrity and I do all that because it's the right thing to do. That has within it all this stuff we're talking about.
That has all the stuff in there. That's right. And I think that's also why the neighbor, it doesn't say love everybody, or it doesn't say love the universe. It says love thy neighbor. Like there's going to be an embodiment of this next door and around you, the people you bump into, the people you serve in your work and you interact with, and on a daily basis and all that. You're surrounded with people, so that's the act locally. We care about, we have compassion for the whole world. And then when we do, and you want to have as much positive effect as possible. If you can hit any multipliers or whatever, absolutely. You want to have as much of impact as possible. But I think it's interesting. It's not even plural. It's not even neighbors. It's just neighbor. Yeah. That's the act locally part.
Take home message for today. You got angels around you all the time. They've got power. You want to amp that power up. Look at your goals and your purpose and try to get those to align with God's purpose, which is love for the human race.
Right.
It's not too bad. Hard to argue with that.